ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂನು. ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರಿ Alertathon. Alertathon is happening next week 11th and 12th. ಈ ಎಪಿಸೋಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಈ ವಿಡಿಯೋನ ಯಾಕೆ ಹಾಕ್ದೆ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಿರ್ಬೋದಲ್ವಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ ಇರೋರು ಒಬ್ರು ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ವಿಮೆನ್ ಅಚೀವರ್, ಆಲ್ ದ ವೇ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಚೆನ್ನೈ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾರು? ನೀವು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತು ಅವರ ಜರ್ನಿ ಅವರ ಬಾಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳೋಣ. ಕಲಾ ಬಾಲಸುಂದರ. ನಮಸ್ತೆ, ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಟು ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ಕಲಾ.
Namaste, good evening, Rekha. How are you?
Yeah, good. So I'm extremely happy, and we are all waiting to hear about Alert and your journey. I'm sure that inspires a lot of people here today.
Thank you, Rekha, and thanks to Spoorthi for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. So before we start the show, I would like to let you introduce yourself first and tell us about your journey.
Sure, Rekha. So, hello friends. Again, a good evening from me to all of you. I'm from Chennai, and I'm an IT management professional, now moved on to the social organization full-time. Basically, this journey, as Rekha wanted me to share with you, is my last 5 decades of journey has been a beautiful one, and it's had its own share of ups and downs, which has actually made me a little bit philosophical about life, because I think I have seen the highest point of comforts and also all kind of challenges possible, which has made me realize, this life is a gift. Absolutely, life is a gift, and it has made me cherish every moment. And I feel that this life is too short, and within that short time, I would like to do so much. Would like to give back so much to the society, and because giving back society is not like we are doing a favor to anybody. It is like helping our own selves. This basically is my expression and my sense of gratitude to what this life has given me. So this is what I look at life as.
Wow, that's wonderful. You said you worked 24, 25 years in the corporate world, that too in software. But as far as I know, you are from a literature background. And how did you manage such a long duration in this world?
Yeah, I mean, this is a question that everybody asks me as to how is it that I actually managed to survive in the IT industry, where it's full of engineers and, all the high funded degrees out there. But yeah, the thing is, if I have to go back to how it all happened, was I got married when I was still in my second year of my college. So you can imagine, I think I was still in my 19, or I was just about 19 when I got married, and somehow managed to complete my graduation after my marriage. And then when I wanted to, having got married into a huge conservative joint family, I was not able to pursue my higher studies, MBA, because, they felt that, I had to take on the family responsibilities. So that actually made me take a lot of shorter courses. So I started doing variety of courses in computers, and those were the days of Fox, DBase, Fox Pro, data processing, and all those Lotus kind of languages. So I was doing a lot of computer courses, short-term courses, so that I'll keep myself engaged. And at some point, and I was also at the same time assisting my husband in his own business, the textiles business we were in. And at one point, after I was a mother of 2 by then, and my husband said, why don't you move on to the IT industry instead of just accompanying me to the office? Why don't you move on to the IT industry? So I thought initially he was kidding me, because I said, first of all, as it is, I would be a late starter if I enter the industry then. And secondly, I said I will not be able to compete with the young engineers out there. And this I'm talking about 2 decades back, right? Where there were not much of a women fraternity working in IT industry. It was more of a male-dominated industry then. So and that was the first, but then when he said that, I thought, why not? So I again did you name it, I would have done that course, like starting from an MCP, MCSD, and CBEL, and I did a variety of courses, and my career in the IT industry started off with a small couple of startups, small startups, but that is where I was getting stronger technically in terms of coding. And then my major break came with Pendersoft Technologies, which was then the biggest IT firm in Chennai at that point in time. And so how I survived was, while I was able to code, I was good technically as well. I found out, and I think my seniors also noticed, observed my stronger points. My strong points were project management, customer management, and people management. So I started leveraging on my stronger points, So, and I think soon I think I was identified for my strong points, and I started to manage the technical people. That is how I was able to. And one thing about me was I've always been a person who would look at anything as a challenge. If I find something difficult, I will take it up as a challenge, and then I will try to achieve what I'm set out for. So that attitude about being a bit aggressive on going after what I want has helped me, and that has helped me be in this industry, survive, and also grow in this industry for so long. But it's been a fantastic experience, actually.
Yeah, seriously, from a literature background, you are here, and listening to this is something inspires me also.
Yeah, in fact, one of the in 2 organizations I was, in fact, it became a joke, because in Pendersoft Technologies, I went through actually 6 rounds of interview, written, coding, everything. And then after that, I was also given the appointment letter. And then the day I went to join my work, I first reported into the HR manager of that company. And at that point, he was asking me, like, which college did you go to, which thing? Then I said, I'm a BA Literature. Then he became so quiet for a time, because the appointment letter said a software engineer, whereas I was not an engineer by any, even closely, remotely. So again, and that was actually the case with when I joined the Ford company as well. So there again, they had this challenge, because they were a group of 11 or 12 shortlisted candidates, and I was chosen as the first person for this position. And again, when it came to giving the appointment letter, they were not able to give me, they did not want to give me a software engineer position, because I was a literature student, and I was not actually academically, I was not a qualified engineer. So they gave me this role of business analyst. So yeah, every organization, it was funny, but also it gave me a sense of sort of having come a certain distance, without the actual degree, actually.
True. Just now you spoke about giving back to the society. See, when it comes to giving back to the society, few people will turn out and get into action. So you are one amongst them. So what was the inspiration or triggered you to just start this social service? Think about this. Yeah.
The thing is, giving back to the society has, I think it's a part of the DNA for me and my siblings. That's because that is what we have always seen in our family. For instance, like my mother runs an old age home, which is now 25 years old. And right from my childhood, I have seen my parents, constantly helping somebody or the other. Like from my community, when people come from the village, we were in Chennai, they used to come, and anybody who comes was not turned back without with some kind of a help. And everybody were, sort of, I think that culture of always looking out for opportunities to help was always there. And if I have to go back and recall when it all actually started, I really cannot recall, because I guess it's always been there. There's no, I'm unable to go back and say, this is when it all started. I think no point in my life I've not been involved at doing something or the other. And normally, even when I joined the corporate organizations, be it Ford, Pentasoft, or later when I was in Noida, when I was in Singapore, always the first thing when I join a company is normally, every organization will have different clubs, right? So it'll have a fun club, it'll have a sports club, it'll have a community service club. I'll be the one who'll always watch out for, where is the community service club, and I will enroll myself in that. So I've always visited multiple schools for teaching. And when I was in Singapore, I was part of the Red Cross. And again, when I was working for a company in Styria, we took on a major project with the burn squad. So there's always something that I've been doing until Alert happened, which was in 2006. So there's always some kind of an activity I've always been involved with. I've been a part of multiple hospitals where I used to go almost every other weekend to do, be it some counseling or just meeting patients. So that is something that's very close to my heart.
Okay, so you mentioned Alert. Now let's move on to that Alert NGO now. So how did it happen, and how did it take birth?
Okay. Yeah, so the genesis of Alert is something very, very beautiful, and it was not planned, definitely. So going back to 2004, 2005, which is about 16 years back, I used to work in a company called Zansa, which is, on the OMR. OMR meaning it's now called the IT highway. That is one road in Chennai where you'll find all the major IT companies. And those days, the roads were really, really bad. Today, it's a 6-lane highway. So it's like you can zip past the complete distance in 20 minutes. But those days, from one point to the starting point to go to the company, it'll be around 1.5 hours, because the road was more filled with cattle. The cows and the buffaloes would be on the road than the traffic. So those days, seeing an accident was very, very common. Like most of the times this is not even an exaggeration when I say like at least once in a week or 2 weeks to see an accident, and some youngster would be lying out there. Most of the time it will be an IT person, who's on a 2-wheeler, or they would have collapsed. And one thing common that will be there in every accident scene, I'm sure the audience as well as you will be able to recall this scene, right? Where you will see an accident and people will be gathered around that accident. They will be talking, trying to help, but eventually they will not be doing anything, right? And the maximum thing a person will be doing is to give water. And those were the days when even the ambulance system was not in place. Like today we have the 108 in Chennai, and I'm sure it is there in most of the states today. But at that point in time, there was no other than the private ambulances, no ambulance system was there. So this was actually bothering bothering me every time, I see some scene from the company bus, looking out of the window and seeing some accident there, the bus is slowing down and going around the accident scene and nobody helping. And every time I see this scene, my heart will cry out saying, why aren't people doing anything about it? Why are people just standing there? And it was one of those days when there was a wake-up call, when my inner voice or inner conscience, it said, what are you doing about it? You are also a bystander. You are also not doing anything. So why do you talk about others? So that was the wake-up moment, awakening moment for me, actually. So the thought at that point was, I wanted to learn first aid, and thought that next time I see a scene like that, I do not want to walk away from that scene. And that was the point where I, along with my colleagues, we went out and had a training on first aid. And after that 2 or 3 hours of training, that was when a realization came that this 2 or 3 hours I spent on this learning first aid, with this I can actually save anybody. I too can save a life. Because in our country, with the number of accidents that is taking place and number of sudden cardiac deaths that is taking place, every time there's an emergency, we cannot expect a doctor to be there, in that place. So, but the thing is, you do not have to be a doctor, with due respects to the doctor. If the doctor is not there, it's not that you can't do anything. So that is when we thought that a life-saving critical skill, something like this, has to be taken out and given to everybody. Because when we did a survey, what came out, as a finding, we did a survey on, if you see an accident or if there is an emergency in a public place, will you go and help? And if, the people who answered, everybody, we did a random sampling, and the findings came out like this. The topmost finding was, I would like to help, but I am scared, like, what in case something will happen if I go and help? What in case something happens after that? So I don't want to go and help. I do not know what to do. The second one was, I would like to help, but then I don't want to get involved in the police or the, police or courts and things like that. I don't want to get involved with any kind of legal harassments, things like that. And third one is about, I don't have the time. I'm rushing here. I'm going to the airport. I'm going to the office, kind of stuff. So we wanted to address all of this. That is, one is to the point that I do not know what to do. Therefore, I'm not helping. And second, I'm scared of legal points, so I do not want to enter the scene. So that is what we wanted to do through Alert. And in 2006, Alert was started as an NGO. And we are completing 15 years of this, of a journey this year.
Congratulations on completing 15 long years. It's not a small thing. It's really a very noble cause and achievement.
Thank you, Rekha.
So by then also you were working and parallelly you were handling Alert. So how did you manage both?
I think, yes, it was a challenge to manage both. For 13 years, we were, me and my co-founder, we were working as well as managing Alert. We had one full-time person to manage. But then, I always believe that where there is a will, there is a way. We make time. It could be before, before office hours, after office hours. Most of the weekends went off in this. And also, I would think rather than looking at managing both simultaneously as a challenge, I think what worked in the favor was it actually became an advantage working in the corporate environment as well as managing an NGO. One, because the kind of connections and the network, right? So we had, being IT people, we had very easy access to all the IT companies, you know. And secondly, when we go out there and say, you know, when we talk about the NGO, there is a certain amount of perception about social workers, you know, all said and done, you know, it is like we are all busy and people, social workers come and, you know, they are talking about some cause and all that. But then when you go and talk to them saying that we are also employed, but this is also something we are doing, you know, part-time, they were able to appreciate this work so much, and they started supporting us. And most importantly, what helped, you know, working in the corporate world as well as managing NGO was all of our trustees, you know, we have 5 trustees at our organization, NGO, and all of them are with different corporates. And what worked in the favor was we applied all of the best practices of the corporate world into the NGO. So be it every activity we take up is treated like a project, and every, you know, whatever work we do, it's all process driven, and it's very, very highly, we have actually applied technology at every level. You know, starting from the people management, and, you know, like we use CRMs like Zoho, Salesforce kind of thing. So I think being in the corporate as well as having an NGO in parallel has been more of an advantage than anything else.
True, true. So what do you do in Alert?
Yeah, so as I said, the whole initiative was started with, you know, people losing their lives because, 1, people do not know what to do, and 2, people are inhibited because of the legal you know, legal harassments and things like that. So the core activity at Alert is more about creating awareness and sensitizing people, because 1, in our country, like, you know, we all, when we open the newspapers every single day there is an accident reported, right? There was a 2-wheeler which was hit by a truck and a couple lost their lives, or there was an accident. And so, but then every time we read this, we always think that it has happened to somebody else. We never realize that this could happen to us also. And everybody has, you know, aging in-laws, aging parents in the house. What in case somebody collapses? Do we know what to do? Most of the time, we only panic. We do not know. At that point, our mind becomes blank and we do not know what to do. So we try to create this awareness and sensitize people on why you should learn first aid and be prepared for any kind of emergency. And after creating the awareness, how we do it is train people. We have different kinds of training. We have the basic training. Then we have basic training is more for people to know the do's and don'ts when there is an emergency and some basic skills. And then we have the 1-day course where, you know, people can have hands-on experience in all this skills in on CPR and things like that. And then we have 2 days intense course, you know, which will make anybody a skilled first responder. So second is the training part of it. So 1 is sensitizing, 1 is training, and the third one is in the last 15 years, you know, the number of people, we have trained over 150,000 people across India. So, and then with that kind of number, we wanted to make a first responders network, because what was happening is, say if there is you are a trained person and there is an accident that is happening in the next road, you know, from your house, unless otherwise you are there, you will never get to know that there is an accident and you'll have to rush to the spot, right? So what we did was we wanted to actually connect the supply and the demand, meaning when there is a requirement for, you know, a first responder, the call out has to go to them. So we have we've formed a first responders network called VOICE. The VOICE stands for Volunteers in Case of Emergency. So there is this app called Voice where all the trained first responders are put onto this network. And we try to, you know, we are trying to build this network so that wherever there is an emergency, this call in for the responders can be triggered. So that is one thing. And we also work with the government bodies on the policing. Like we now have the Good Samaritan law, which was not there earlier, which actually protects people who go and help when there is an emergency in a public place. So we have worked with the government extensively, and we are continuing to work with them on this policy making, and also on different projects with regards to first aid, emergency preparedness, and things like that. So these are a few of the things that you know, we are into. You know, into this domain of first aid and emergency care. We try to do various things. Yeah.
So even have heard those days, initial days, you were, I mean, your alert was supported by Sir Abdul Kalam also. So how about his meeting and your experience? And if you could share a few things, we would really love to hear that.
Sure, Rekha. So our meeting with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the then President of India, has to date remains to be the most cherished and blessed moment for Alert, because that was the most defining moment wherein he gave us the goal. So we started in, as I said, we started in 2006, October, on a Vijayadashmi day. And just down the line, in 7 to 8 months, when Dr. Kalam was visiting Chennai from Delhi, we got a call from him saying, because he had heard about this small group of people who are into, you know, training people and first aid and emergency care. He had got to know through somebody, and he had called in for us. And so we went there, and he, the person that he is, he was so curious to know how we started it and what was behind the logo and what we do and things like that. So after hearing us, and he actually being a man of numbers, he put a number to what we were doing, because at that point in time we really had a lot of plans, absolutely raw passion. Or we were young, and we had started this as purely driven by passion. We had no clue on how to run an NGO, because we were IT guys, and we didn't know any idea on how to run an NGO. And we had plans to expand. We told him about the blueprint that we had for Alert and all that. Then he brought in our focus back to what we were doing. He said, this work that you people are doing, that is from the time an emergency happens until a professional help comes, people do not know what to do. All they do is to panic, right? So, and you people are addressing this gap, and you have to focus only on that area and go deep into it. And being a man of numbers, he put a goal on us saying, train at least one in every family in first aid and emergency care. So that was the first meeting where he gave us the goal. And since then, it has become our stated goal to train at least one in every family in first aid and emergency care. So that was the first meeting with Dr. Kala. And in 2009, we had, again, we were blessed with a second meeting when he gave us, he reviewed all that we did over the last 2 years, between 2007 and his first meeting and the second meeting. And then again, he said that we have to take it more to the rural areas, because it's more in rural areas that, when there is an emergency, it takes a long time for any ambulance to even reach there, or even for them to reach to the closest hospital. So he wanted us to go, more into the rural area. So he gave us the direction on that. But one thing I would like to, I always say this, incident of a second meeting on how it happened. It's both hilarious as well as a very memorable one for me. It was October 7th. October 7th is my birthday. And on that day, we had got to know that Dr. Kalam was visiting Chennai. And I was, somehow wanting to go meet him again and present what we have been doing the last 2 years after his first meeting. But actually, he had been there in Chennai for already 2-3 days, and his agenda was really packed. You know how it is. Like he was when he comes, his calendar is completely blocked. So, and I was praying, that at least as my birthday gift, can I get, hopefully the God will give me get me an appointment with him and all that. And then that evening, it was late evening, and I was saying, well, it didn't happen. So I was having a conversation with the God. I was saying, okay, you didn't even give me a gift for the birthday, no appointment and all that. So next day morning, it was October 8th. And I was getting ready to go to the office, and it was about 8:15. And at that point in time, I was with Hewlett Packard, HP, and I had a huge team of 80 people who were reporting into me. And normally, mornings, you know how crazy it is until you leave to the office. And I go for my workout, come and get my children ready, send them to school, and I get ready and finish my puja and go. So I was in the altar doing my puja, and I was constantly getting a call, which was my phone was in the bedroom. And first, I didn't pick up all of the calls. Normally I don't take any calls in the morning because I'm in a rush. And since there was constant missed calls that were coming, then I thought maybe it is one of my team members from the office calling, and so I didn't want to miss it. I went back to the room, and I saw there were multiple calls. 4-5 calls, and then I called back to that number. And when I called back, there was a lady on the other end, and they said, who's speaking? They asked in Tamil, yaar pesirudhu? Then I was like, there was a missed call from your end, who's speaking? And they said they're calling, this is Raj Bhavan. And to my level of thinking, I couldn't think that Raj Bhavan was a governor's office residence. All I could think was there used to be a restaurant called Raj Bhavan near my mother's house. So and that is where, as kids, and my parents used to always get any tiffin items or whatever for at times they get it from there. And then who would be calling from Raj Bhavan restaurant at this point, And so I said, okay. So I was talking in Tamil, yaar koopidradunga. Then again, they paused for a minute, and then they said, is this Miss Kala? I said, yes, this is Kala Balasundaraam. Okay, we are calling from Raj Bhavan, and kindly hold on, Mr. Sheridan, who's the secretary to Dr. Kalam, would like to speak to you. And then I realized that it was Raj Bhavan was governor's residence. So even before I could realize what was happening, like Dr. Kalam's PA spoke to me, and then he said that Kalam would like to meet us at 1 o'clock. So that's how the whole meeting, and we had almost 1 hour of meeting with him. So it was absolutely an event that I will never forget in my life.
True. You said you are now into full time. You are working for this alert for the full time. But having said you were enjoying your corporate journey also. Was it a easy transformation from that corporate world to this, and how did you take that decision?
It was a very, very major decision, and it was not an easy one. Because as I said, it would have been an easy one had I not enjoyed my corporate job. Okay, that's how most people come out of it, right? Because people are fed up of doing a corporate job, and then they move on and do something else. In my case, I enjoyed it thoroughly. And in fact, I think when I took a voluntary retirement and moved on to Alert full time, I think I was at my peak, in what I was doing, and I think I was really, really good at what I was doing, and people loved me. My entire team, I think I was enjoying it thoroughly. But Alert was also growing with God's grace. It was growing and doing beautifully. And we were getting projects from WHO, the government of India, and we were getting some major projects, which was becoming very challenging to manage simultaneously along with my corporate work. So, and that was the time. And along with that, there was one more decision, one more situation that also influenced my decision to move out of the corporate world. One was also because of my aging parents. My dad was a bit unwell, and I was visiting them maybe over the weekends, once a week or so. But I felt that I needed to spend more time with them, and to manage all of this was becoming a challenge. And so that was a major decision, and I think I would give a lot of credit and a lot of gratitude to my spouse as well, because moving out of the job is not so easy. It's also because of the financial outcomes and the dependency on what you make, right? So, but then, yeah, I had all the support, and then he did say, like, I think you're given a lot more than what you have to, for the family, and now you do what you want to do with your life, and we will, we will manage with whatever we are making. With God's grace, I think it has not impacted even after I come out of the corporate life. Yes, it has meant a little bit of compromises here and there, but nothing to complain about. So yeah, this is what it was. So I wouldn't say that I sacrificed something to be at Alert. This was a choice that I made willingly, because it also gave me a lot of freedom and a lot of things to do otherwise, which I wouldn't have maybe explored had I been in the corporate job. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful to know your journey. Actually, such an inspiring one. So, moving on to Alert, how do people get back in case if they want to get in touch or get trained for this CPR or whatever first aid training and all? How do people reach out?
Yeah, so what we do, Rekha, is we train almost every segment of the community. We train, be it apartment complexes, we train auto drivers, we train students, corporates, and anybody. And most of the trainings that we do for the general public goes out at no cost, because somewhere that was that has always been the driving principle at Alert, that a life-saving skill like this should not go out at a cost. But at the same time, for all practical reasons and for sustaining the organization, we have to put it at a cost, and for some segment of the community. And so for corporates and for any business community, we do it at a nominal charge. So if people can always reach out to us by contacting us on the website. They can write to us at info@alert.ngo. Info@alert.ngo is the mail ID. Or you can just simply call us at 9944066004. Okay, we can maybe leave a message at the end. So how you can get engaged with Alert is, first and foremost, I would say, please get trained. Every Saturdays we have a free training programs at between 3 to 4:30. You can right now, after COVID, in the last couple of years, we have moved to online. Otherwise, it used to be physical. So you can moving online has also had its advantages, because people from all over the place can log in. So for you can just register and log on to this Saturday. It's called the Savior Saturday programs. Every Saturday this is happening. You can sort of enroll and attend this program. And second, if you're a group of 20 people or 25 people, we can do an exclusive program for you. For instance, like for Spoorthi, Rekha, I'm sure you have your own audiences, and I'm sure you have friends and community people who will be interested to take on this training program. We would, if you can, get about 20 to 25 people or more also, we would love to do an exclusive program for you. So in that way, people can get in touch with us, and then you can actually enroll to become a volunteer. And becoming a volunteer is very easy. All you have to do is to write to us or contact us. And then we have a monthly volunteer programs where you can, we can be a part of it. You can either become a trainer, you can either, do any activities with us and see what we can do. We will see what you're interested at, and you can become a part of us. So there is so much to do because as Dr. Kalam said, to train at least one in every family. So and in the last 15 years, we have trained 150,000 people. So just imagine the numbers that he was talking about, to train one in every family, and we have just trained 150,000, which is not even scratching the surface, right? So we have so much to do, and any good cause, it doesn't happen with just a few people doing it. Everybody have to hold hands together, and that's how we can bring in any kind of change.
Yeah. Having said that, I would like to ask, what are the challenges you are facing? Because you said just we have trained 1.5 lakh people over the 15 years, the journey. So what are the challenges you are facing, or what are the things you think it is have to be taken care?
Okay, so the challenges in the last 15 years, it's not been a bed of roses. But at the same time, if everything had been there, come to us smoothly, then maybe we wouldn't have valued, what we are doing, because it's full of challenges. It keeps us going. I think one of the major challenges that we face is the need that people, that culture of in us, in at least in our country, where it is never taken seriously. So if you see anywhere out of India, right, in UK or US, this first aid or even a simple thing is on what is a CPR, how, if there is an emergency, how do you call an ambulance? That is taught to students at a school level when they are in a 5th grade or, even younger. So I'm sure you would have seen a lot of YouTube videos and all that, or even in WhatsApp, it's been making its rounds. Even a child picks up the phone and calls 911 to say there is emergency here. But here people don't even know how to dial a 108 or what is a CPR. So that this awareness is hardly there. Of course, now it is getting better, I should say, from the time we started to now. What we see a lot of difference that is coming in place. So the major challenge is when we go, even say, talk to people that why don't you get trained? And we also go to the extent of saying, we will do it for free. You don't pay anything. Just come and attend this. So, but the thing is, it's never taken seriously. We have had n number of sessions, where we would have made arrangements and there'll be nobody to show up. But, those were the initial days. So that is the major challenge. People still are not realizing how critical this life-saving skill is. Okay, until it happens to our own self, people do not realize the thing. Until they lose their loved ones, or until they see somebody passing away in front of their eyes and they did not do anything. Until such thing happens, people do not realize the need. And secondly, even as to run an NGO with this kind of vision of first aid and emergency, which is a very, very different kind of cause, right? I mean, when it is something like you're running an NGO for orphanage, for orphans, for children, or for aged people, or even for tree planting, climatic, all this, it's people are able to relate to it. And therefore, the support system that comes along is also easy. But then when you go and talk about this particular cause that we are, yes, it is very different. So people do ask, how are you doing this? I mean, how did you even think about this? Yes, it's different. So unless people are able to visualize the bigger scenario, it's very difficult to muster support for this. This is like sowing a seed for something, that will come 20 years from now, something that we may not see it like. It's like an insurance. We pay money for insurance thinking that it might happen, but at the same time, we also feel that we don't want to use it. But still, we keep paying for the insurance, right? This is something like that. We learn the skill, hoping that you will never get to use it, but at the same time, everybody have to have this. This is like an insurance, absolutely. So these are some of the major challenges that we face, Rekha.
Now the event is coming up next week, so I want you to just enlighten on that Alertathon event.
Yeah, so Alertathon is an endurance event that this is a 7th edition. We have done it for the last consecutive 6 years. We have done 7 editions of it. And normally this is a marathon where people come across, all runners, fraternity, the community people, they come and they run for this cause of creating an awareness on saving lives, on the need to get trained and save lives. As I said, one of the things that we do at Alert is to create awareness and sensitizing, right? So for different people, different ways of sensitizing has to be done. So for everybody, a classroom session will not work. So what we do is at some places we do puppetry, some places we do street plays, and then at malls we do flash mob dance, and then at times we do mock drills. We actually we do a lot of campaigns also. So we adopt almost every single means to create this awareness. And Alertathon to date has become one of the most powerful engines, or I should say the powerful tool to raise this awareness levels. And now the COVID has been, I should say, a blessing in disguise, because the last year was the first time when we went to virtual instead of having a physical event, as you know, no crowding and all that. So last year also, first virtual event, we had 11 countries and 25 states and over 3,500 people participating all over the world. And this year, again, on 11th and 12th September, we have this event. So typically, the Alertathon coincides and we hold it on the World First Aid Day, which is the 2nd weekend of September. So people can participate. You can register. I mean, all the viewers. I'm reaching out to all the viewers and audience who are listening to this and who will be listening to this later also. That please register, and you can run, walk, ride anywhere. I mean, anywhere this is not going to happen in one specific place. So you can do your cycling or running or walking at any place, at any time, and any distance. All you have to do is to register. You can visit www.alertathon.com. So you'll enter into a registration page, and you can register yourself. And on 11th and 12th of September, you can participate. And of course, if you're interested, you can also get a t-shirt, and beautiful. It's a designer t-shirt. Normally, Alertathon is known for its designer t-shirts and a lovely medal as well. So please do register and support our cause. And every year, this is getting bigger. And that can happen only with the support of every person out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us insight on Alertathon, and as well, thank you for inspiring us. It's just an amazing journey, and you have inspired a lot of people here. And thank you for being here in Spoorthi as well.
Thank you, Rekha. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಅಲರ್ಟ್ ನ ಒಂದು ಜರ್ನಿನ ಕೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. ಕಲಾ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಹೆಂಗಿತ್ತು, ಅವರ ಚಾಲೆಂಜಸ್ ಏನಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಅ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್, ಅವರು IT ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 24-25 ವರ್ಷಗಳು ಕಳೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಸಾಧಾರಣವಾದ ಜರ್ನಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಸ್ಪೈರಿಂಗ್ ಜರ್ನಿ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇವಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋಂತಹ ಅಲರ್ಟ್ NGO ಕೂಡ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆನೇನೆ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ವ್ಯೂವರ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು. ಅದ್ರ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಖಂಡಿತ ಈ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ಪೇಜ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಈವನ್ ಅಲರ್ಟಥಾನ್ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ನೀವುಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್, ಖಂಡಿತ ನಾವು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ CPR ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಮ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆನೇನೆ ಲೈಫ್ ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ, ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ನ ಮಾಡಿಸೋದು ಕೂಡ ಅದೇ ಒಂದು ಮುಂದೆಂದಾದ್ರೂ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಆಗಬಹುದಾ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗೇನೇನೆ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ನಾವು ಟ್ರೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಖಂಡಿತ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಜೀವನ ನಾವು ಉಳ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೂ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಅಚೀವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬೇರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ರೂನು ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯನ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನೆಲ್ಲದೂ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮನ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಈ ವಾರ ಗೌರಿ ಗಣೇಶ ಹಬ್ಬ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಎಪಿಸೋಡ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಗಣಪತಿ ಹಬ್ಬ ಫ್ರೈಡೇ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಫ್ರೈಡೇ ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ ಒಬ್ರು ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರಿಟಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವರ ಜೊತೆ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರ ಜರ್ನಿನ ನಾವು ಕೇಳೋಣ. ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ಫ್ರೈಡೇ 5 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.